So my experts are here, and Joel, the audio engineer and the founder of the Gifted of Dance. Nick, my producer, and Anchor Baby. Anchor Baby.
The what?
And then Chris, he white, and
That's all you need to know.
social media director. On the this past Sunday, 60 Minutes presented a story about Hungary, where over in Hungary they are trying to build the population. I guess it's got really low or something.
Oh yeah.
And they're trying to rebuild it.
Yeah.
But they are building it with white babies.
Right.
Are there any black people in Hungary?
There's some, I think. There's definitely like Serbians.
Oh yeah.
Like they're the blacks to the Hungarian people. Although they're not black skinned.
Oh, amazing! And so they are
Serbs.
rewarding these white people if they get married and have babies. And according to how many babies you have, the more you get. You have 3 babies, you get hungry.
Exactly.
But 1 baby, you get a van or something, right?
Yeah, $30,000 for if you promise to have one baby.
If you promise to have one, you get $30,000.
Yeah.
Hungarian money, yes.
Amazing. So, some people thought that it was that they were being racist by wanting more white babies.
You know, I didn't know
And
60
then-
Minutes was so liberal.
wanted to keep Hungary white for the most part because they put up a big wall. They're keeping the Serbians or whatever they are out,
No Serbs.
right?
None.
They don't want them in. They built a big, beautiful wall. And so, they, as you mentioned earlier, Nick, they promised to, if they promise to have 1 child, they give them up to $30,000. It's a loan?
So it's $30,000 loan, and the interest rates are slashed when you have your 2nd child. When you have your 3rd child, the loan is forgiven. And I believe in your 4th kid, the mother doesn't have to pay income tax for the rest of her life.
Wow, I would hurry up and have 4 babies. Right.
And it's this
Get on
program.
that quick.
Oh yeah. And this program is like they offer free fertility clinic like treatments for people, cash loans, and minivans.
So my experts are here, and I want to know what they thought about this story. Joey, I'll go with you first. So over there, they want white majority, if not all, majority
Right.
white families.
Right.
They don't want homosexuals. They don't want all any of that stuff. They don't want the immigrants there. They want whiteness. What do you think about that?
I totally disagree with how they're going about it.
And
100% disagree.
how are they going about it?
Because they're trying to control something off of something that they want. So their agenda is to try to control it. So they're losing a population, and yeah, they want their people, which is totally fine, but then you can't take matters in your own hands and try to control it, because then that's like welfare in the same way. This has the same agenda to it, because you're rewarding people for doing things, you know, to have a family, and you're giving them free stuff, just like, you know, the welfare here is to keep the dad out, you give them free money. But what they're doing is to keep the family together, they're giving them free money. But it's both still welfare. You're both trying to take control matters in your own hands and change what's going on. So I just disagree. If they're a dying population, then, you know, there ain't nothing you can do but let them die.
Amazing. So you're against the fact that they're trying to encourage these white men and women to get married, and according to the number of children you have, they're supported, rewarded for that. You're against that?
I'm against them rewarding. Encourage people, yes, but don't encourage them with free stuff.
How about they're trying to prevent, it sounds like they're trying to prevent homosexuals from calling themselves married and all that, couples.
Well, yeah, I push that and do that, and I'm fine with that. Like, you know, stand up against all that stuff, but I just don't. The rewarding people for doing things is against their own will.
And how about the fact they put up a big, beautiful wall and won't let the refugees in?
Oh, that's great.
Oh, you like that too? What do you think of that? The whole story there. Chris.
Yeah, I agree with it. I think it's a good thing because I think that the population is in a decrease, and you can see this all throughout Europe and within America as well, with really any white population, and I believe this is caused by just more or less propaganda. Don't have kids, be free, kind of like live that sort of lifestyle.
Right.
And you can speculate why they're trying to do that specifically, but in regards to Hungary, I mean, I think America should adopt something like this because I understand what Joel is saying with how it's kind of like welfare. But I would think it would boost the overall morale of the entire population, and it is healthy for a population to get married and have kids and things like that. So I would just see it as an overall positive. I don't think people will become sort of completely reliant on the government in the way that welfare has sort of made people in America reliant on the government.
Yeah.
I think it'll just help them exponentially. I think people will still, strive to be better, be hard workers and that sort of thing. I don't think it would hinder them at all. I think it would be an overall positive thing.
You like the fact that they want to keep Hungary white?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, it's only controversial. It's only controversial to say something like that in white countries. Like it's not an issue at all if you said Japan should stay Japanese. If literally any other country that's not white, if they want to stay the way they want to stay, it's people don't even bat an eye. But if a white country, a European country says, no, we want to stay the way that we are, they think they're racist. They make all those ridiculous claims. And I mean, it's 100% fine for a country to say, we want to remain the way that we are.
Could I add
So
to
you
that?
guys are white too.
Could I add to that?
I'm just trying to trigger it.
Could I-
Do you think that it's okay that they want to keep Hungary white?
Yeah, I think that's fine if you want to keep Hungary white. I'm not against them wanting to keep if they want to be white, be white. I'm just against the way they're going about doing it. Because it's like, where do you draw the line? You see,
But that's not welfare.
well, like you see, for example, like if they say, oh, if white people have 1, 2, 3 babies, we'll reward them a car, A, B, C, right? But then that means all white people, even the evil white people, even the angry white people, even the hillbillies and all of them, if they
Hillbillies.
they have
There's Hungarian hillbillies.
okay, maybe not hillbillies.
Hungarian hillbillies.
But where do you
Every culture has their hillbillies.
where do you draw the
You
line?
took it too far.
Every culture
The
has their
hillbillies.
hillbillies. They're not
The
called
country
hillbillies.
folk,
but-
the crazy folk. Where do you draw the line with who should not be having who's going to be doing these things just to get
But who
free
gets to
stuff?
decide?
But that's what I'm saying.
I
It's like
think-
you don't. The reason
Yeah.
why they're declining is because they're not having babies because of their lack of A, B, and C. Their lack of
So they should
morality.
just die,
So
right?
let me ask.
Right. So
Finish that,
that's
then
their fault. They're dying.
Let me ask Nick. Here's what make that point you're about to make.
Well, I think I don't think it is technically their fault that their population is declining, but I would say it's due to manipulation of their mind because of propaganda and things like that. I mean, white populations over the decades and centuries even have less kids than other populations. But I think now specifically to where they're actually in a decline, they're not replacing themselves. I think that is specifically due to sort of just like a global phenomenon of like propaganda that's saying like that targets white people specifically, like do not have kids. They don't. And, they don't support the family. They should have abortions. They promote homosexuality, things like that. All these things combined will lead to a population decline.
Nick, Joel, James says that Chris' mic is too.
It's too loud.
Yeah, you see that?
Let me see.
Making me seem like a crazy racist because I'm yelling white people, white countries.
Serbians have every right.
I know, right?
I'm just trying to trigger people, but
So, what do you think about that story?
that's not welfare. First of all, that's not welfare. And something I'd want people to smoke on maybe is, before I get to it, is what's the purpose of government, right? What is the purpose of government? And maybe you guys can smoke on it for a second, but there's a few details I don't want to miss.
All right.
I don't want to miss how very similar what's going on in Hungary, the way they're talking about that movement. You see that's happening here, right? You kind of hear the same exact points kind of said about
The
white
negative
people
points.
here, the negative
About
negative
races and all that.
about
okay.
right. And going back to kind of what Joel was saying, right? You're in the. It seems like in your mental model of it, you would see the Hungarians die out and suffer from their consequences, right?
From their own consequences.
But like I bring back the question of what is the point of government, right? This is not welfare. This is an incentive, right? If there's anything the government is there for, is to at least to stop the destruction of or the ending of your culture and of your people.
But that's adding to it. In my opinion, I feel like that's adding to it. Reason why is because they're just giving them free stuff just so they can
It's not. It's
to
an
bring
incentive.
order.
You're doing something for it. You're having babies. You're continuing this. You're continuing your culture.
So
for this. You're not just getting it.
Right.
You're continuing. You're ensuring the continuation of your people. And if there's anything to do an incentive for it, maybe it's
Well,
that.
so do you tell the kids? Do you tell your kid? Well, if you clean your room, I'll give you a popsicle.
No, but if
Tell they clean your room because that's the right thing to do, not you be rewarded. That's just my point. Is that they shouldn't be rewarded for something they're not doing. You're not doing it. Who fault? The government should go in there and say, hey, well, you need to go and do this and this and this in order to have babies, and maybe you need to go forgive, talk to your mama. But
in your
that's
world,
all they
in your world,
say.
who decides who's the right babe, who's like who's the hateful one, who's the angry one? In your world, who decides that?
But that's what I'm saying. People have to make that decision on their own, opposed to me saying, I'm gonna give you this free stuff so you can do it. Because that's influence. That's the wrong influence by the government. Now you're only doing this because you're getting a free van.
How about the fact, Nick, that they want to keep the state white?
See, I just want to. I don't think I just want to say. I know that they mean white, but I don't think they say white.
Right.
They say Hungarian.
Right.
But Hungarian is European.
white.
It is white. So
Right.
they do say they want to keep it that way, and they don't want to mix with
Right.
other races.
Is that wrong?
And that's not wrong.
That's not wrong.
There's a when you mix, you lose what you originally had, and it'd be a shame to. It's kind of like it's just wrong.
Yeah, they
the
didn't
people
talk
who wanna-
about that. They don't want to mix race. They don't want the babies mixed up with the white babies, the colored babies, and all that
When you mix, you lose what you originally had on both sides.
Right.
It becomes a chimera. It becomes something that wasn't before, and it's unfair and it's wrong to the people that were originally there. And there's so many that want to keep it that way. So many people agree with Viktor Orban. This documentary paints him as this. They call him a right-wing populist. And you notice 60 Minutes. You notice. I didn't know they were this liberal. I didn't know that. by the way.
yeah.
But you notice the liberals suddenly become economic conservatives. It's 2.8 trillion, 5%. They suddenly become
It's
economic.
5% of the GDP.
It's suddenly become economic conservatives when it comes to racism and stuff. It's like
Amazing. But Joel, you might not understand. They're not giving them something free. The people still have to work. They still go to work.
Well,
It's like they're encouraging them as incentives to get married, but they're not telling you we're going to continue to do this, and you don't have to work.
Why
They
did-
do
why
have
did
to
his-
work.
why did his
gonna
popsicle
say-
thing stump me though?
Well, but like, who's gonna who can tell who's doing things in the right way? Who's gonna say,
What do you
oh, well,
mean?
he's not doing it because people are gonna do it just
Right.
to get to bear the benefits. And my thing
Oh,
is,
you're
just
saying that they'll get married just to get a minivan?
Well, I mean,
and that's why I'm
there's-
asking who decides that.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like, but at the same time, even if
Are you
know,
saying people will get married just to get a free minivan?
people can, and I think that even if they don't, even if the right people do it the correct way,
Uh-huh.
I still don't think people should be rewarded for having white babies just to keep the order of things. They should be taught that you should be having babies. I shouldn't give you a car or a house or whatever just so you can have
they
babies.
should be encouraging white people to get married, have babies,
Encouraging
without
them.
giving them anything.
They should do what you do. They should do what you
government?
do.
I think this is an emergency situation. Your population is in a decline, meaning that after a certain amount of years there will be no Hungary. And as Nick said, the purpose of the government is to step in during emergencies. And I think that there's no thing as as a perfect situation or solution. So I understand what Joel is saying, but it's sort of a risk that you should be willing to take, because if your people are homogenous, it's a Christian culture, it's good people, hardworking people, I don't think this type of incentive will make people, become lazy or anything like that, or it'll turn into a welfare state or something like that.
It's not welfare, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's
it
not
isn't.
welfare.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss this detail. That woman that we saw, Anna Dovath.
Terrible.
Okay. Her father was part of the Socialist Party. The other man that they showed, Peter Tovak of the Capital Institute,
Right.
Another communist institute working its influence in Hungary. Maybe that's why we're seeing similarities in the arguments.
Amazing.
Happening here.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense with the Anna woman, the woman that was on the clip. Like,
Yeah.
she's a comment. I mean, Hungary was a victim of the communism for decades. So again, that type of government, whatever you want to call communism, one of their things was they're not going to be having families, and tons of people died, starved.
Amazing.
Atheistic lifestyle.
Is there any other details you want to put out there about it? That was it.
No, I mean, I remember there's they like to, the 60 Minutes, they try and paint it like, you're bringing up the chapters of dark Europe, right? They're trying to say Hitler. He's trying to say Hitler. He's trying to say killing of the Jews and stuff. So they always use that against you to make you fearful and not speak the truth.
You're right about that. Why do you think that, Chris, you made an interesting point, is that whenever you focus on white people, it's always a negative. Like, it's like everybody else can stay black, they can stay Mexican,
Right.
they can stay whatever, Chinese, Japanese,
Yes.
Japanese and all that, right?
Right.
But whenever the focus is on white people, they make it seem bad. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the cultures that white people have created, you can look at across time, Rome, Europe, England, America. These have been the highest forms of civilization that the world has ever seen. And it's sort of one of those things where if you're at the top of the food chain, everybody wants a piece of you.
Right.
They're not as good as you, so everybody tends to hate you.
I'm at the top of the food chain.
And I just think it's one of those things where it's mostly just people just tend to hate what's at the top.
So they hate white people because white people are at the top?
Yeah, and I think there's sort of a yesterday you were talking about some like New World Order stuff.
Right.
I don't know how far I'm into that kind of stuff, but there is an elite class that don't really care about America or just the well-being of others or anything like that. They just kind of want to be rich and above everybody. And they don't really care about countries or anything like that.
And sort of all the way they can do that is to bring white people down?
Yeah, because I think of any culture, again, look at the
who's
way.
overwhelmingly Christian.
Yeah, we're
Who's over what?
Overwhelmingly Christian.
Oh.
we're Christians. We only fear God. We don't fear anything on this earth. We don't. I'm
Y'all
speaking
afraid
generally.
to speak up to the black folks?
Well, now we are. Now
You
that
don't
we've
fear
been,
God, but you fear the blacks.
Yes, now that we've been
I'm at the top of the
now
food
that we've
chain.
been manipulated and made to think a certain way, we worship money and things like that. We're fearful now.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I don't think that's New World Order. I think that's been throughout time. There's always a rich class, and they use workers to make them more wealthy. They're not always bad people, but again, it can be.
One World Order and New World Order, that's the same thing?
Yeah, when people talk about the New World Order, they're saying that there's an elite class who want to abolish nations and things like that. Globalist types. I mean, I do believe that there are globalist types.
Are you a New World Order?
I don't know about that, but there's people, there's forces out there that wish to get rid of borders and want to have a, what else do you call it? What else do you call it but a one world government?
So you're a One World Order?
No, you put me in with those people, now I believe everything they believe. I don't know about all
I mean,
that.
it's more of like I think that's more of like a.
There's definitely
He
communism
denied the One World Order people 3 times.
Dude, Nick, get on board, man. The NWO, it's happening right now.
Are you a New World Order?
I'm not.
I don't even quite fully understand what that means.
We got a one world government.
I don't know about the one world
the
thing.
Chad Alpha Alex Jones. Genius.
Yeah, I don't know about the one world thing. That seems kind of extreme and too far. But
the Bible go-to guy says, stop waving your hand in front of Jesse's face.
Nick,
I keep doing that.
cut it out, Nick.
You guys have never had such a.
Just fold your hands in front of you, prim and proper, like a real news person.
I'm sorry.
My expert, thank you all, my experts. Y'all amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good one.
To the way we were designed.